Okay, so actually, it has been a while. It's been a while since I recorded the last clip of the video. I hurt my finger. I have a band-aid on my finger now, so just ignore that. And I have done some work. Try and focus. So I added the spots, and I did the exact same thing I did on film for shadows and highlighting. I just did it several more layers on the face and the legs. I just basically did shadows, did highlights over and over and over to get what you see now. So I mean, it's the same exact process. I just did several more layers of it. I added faint stripings to the wings, and overall, I think she's looking pretty good. So I actually took her outside and I sealed her with a spray sealer. This is very important because on these statues, I like to do a step I called antiquing, which is what it's called in the little community of people who paint these kind of things. It's called antiquing, but you need to seal it before you do that, and I'll show you why. So I actually have two different types of paints here. One is just the dark brown acrylic paint we've been using. The other one is one of the miniature paints because I think this might actually work better for this step. We need to get a brush that is pretty expendable, and so the goal here is we're going to cover this entire thing in paint and then wipe it off, and the paint will be left in all the little fur and feather details, bringing them out. Anyway, sorry, brief little interruption. So this is going to be a scary step, okay? Because what you do is you're going to cover, like I said, you're going to cover this entire thing, all the work you spent hours doing with paint. And then you're going to wipe it off and hope you don't screw it up. So I'm going to start with the miniature paint, the brown ink, because I think this will smooth better and get into the details better. But let's see. Let's see. So we're going to just basically, and now don't worry, this is going to darken everything, but we're going to come back in with white and all that and go over it again. Don't worry. So we're going to just cover all this. Now remember, this is a thirsty stone that still dries pretty quick. And then we're just going to wipe it off. Now, I've never actually done this with this miniature, so I don't know if the detail is going to hold it. Or I don't think the ink is the way to go. I think that was a bad move. We're going to try this brown instead. Yeah, okay, ink, no, bad move. I should not have done that. Okay. I should have tested it in a more out of the way, sorry, so I'm covering this in paint. I should have tested the ink in a more out of the way area, but it's okay, because we could do it. And you want to wipe against the grain, so you hold that detail. Now, it's going to look ugly, trust me, it's going to look ugly, but we're going to make it look good at the end. So, it looks terrible, because it's brown, but it picks out all that little feather detail. And from there, we can then go over it again with white and keep that detail, and it makes it pop. It makes the textures pop a lot more. Oh, so yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying this video. Or videos, I guess. But I'm going to just keep doing this. And like I said, it's going to look terrible. You guys are going to be like, oh my god, Jen, you're ruining it. It looked so good. Don't worry. I've done this many times. I know what I'm doing. When I'm done re-adding all the light colors in, you guys are going to be like, oh yeah, you're right. That makes it look so much better. Trust me on this. I know what I'm doing. So, I don't know if the camera picks up the detail. But you can see on these wings, you can't see the feather texture. And over here, the feather texture is all picked out. So once we add the white and cream back on top of this, but keep that feather texture, it'll look a lot better. And we'll do that with a technique called dry brushing, but I'll get there in a moment. We're not done yet. And we're just going to do this everywhere. Like I said, this is a scary step, and this is why you needed to seal it before you do this. Because if you do this when you didn't seal it, it's not going to wipe off as easily, and you could ruin your paint underneath. Because by sealing it, the paint underneath is safe. Like, what's under, I could use water and wipe this off, and it'd be pretty kept to how it was before. Yeah, on these wing feathers, you can really see the difference. All right, so look. You can see, maybe, hopefully, if the camera's focusing, you can see here where the white is still at, there is no real detail. But up here, you can see all those little feather textures that you couldn't see otherwise. I don't know if it's actually coming out in video, but hopefully it is. And trust me, once I bring the white and other stuff, the light colors back in, it's gonna look fabulous. So, yep, basically you just slather it, wipe it, slather it, wipe it, and then later, which I will cover, we're gonna go over it again with the light colors, bring back out those beautiful colors we had, and we're gonna do the same thing with the body. And you guys are like, no, not her beautiful spotted rear end. Yes, even her beautiful spotted rear end. And you really want to get this paint in those cracks because the whole point of this is to bring that texture out. And then we're going to wipe it away. So the nice thing is, if there is no, is that even the horse body has texture. Because if it was perfectly smooth, none of this paint would stick and it would just wipe off. You need to have really good texture detail for this to do anything at all. You do gotta kind of really press on this to get the paint off. You want as little of that paint left as possible. So, again, I don't know if it's showing up, but the leg should show. I see it in person. I don't know if it's showing up, but it now has all the little fur, all the little sculpted fur in there. However, this back end right here, where it's very smooth, none of the paint took. So there's no detail there, but that's okay. And yep, we're just gonna keep on doing this over and over until we're done. So I might just go ahead and get that taken care of because I mean it's just gonna be me wiping paint off. I don't know how exciting that is, but this is a step I like to do with these because they have so much good sculpted detail that I really want to bring it out. Like, does that come through at all? All the fur you can see now? I don't know. But anyways, let me finish this up and then I'll go over the next step. The cat is back. Say hello to the cat. Are you done? No, don't. He's trying to stick his feet in my water, my paint water. Excuse you, do you really have to do this while I'm trying to paint? He loves to help, by the way, like just absolutely loves to help. Can I put the water back? He loves to try to drink the water too, by the way. So, what exactly are you trying to do here? Other than get into mommy's stuff? Hey. 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 There you go. Heavy cat. Yes, anyways, since I'm recording, I'm in the middle of antiquing. So she looks very dark, of course, but like I said, we're going to bring the color back in. Hopefully you can see all the fur and feather texture and details that are now popping out. Like I did the wings back here with black because they're too dark. They're using the same brown I would otherwise use, so they have to use black. Here's this side. And I'm going to use black for the feet and stuff too. You want to see me do the face? You want to freak out about me covering up her beautiful face in solid black? I'm sure that'll give you all a good laugh. You don't want to do too much at once because it will dry before you can wipe it off. But you got to get all those little details in there too. So now her face is partially black and we're just going to, like before, just wipe it all off. Yes, this uses a lot of paint, but it also makes a really nice end result. Like I said, you really gotta work at wiping it off too, because you don't want to leave it on there. You just want it in the cracks, nowhere else. So again, her face is going to be very dark. We're going to fix that up, don't worry. I don't know if this camera is actually catching any of the detail that I'm bringing out, but hopefully what I'm doing makes sense to you guys, though, even if the camera's not picking out the changes and details. We're going to just get behind the ears. Try and not go over onto the white any more than we need, because this is a lot darker than the brown we were using before. We don't want to get black over there. So again, her face is very dark. We're just going to start wiping it away. Make sure to get those ears, get around the eyeballs and the nose. Yeah, it's a lengthy step. It uses a lot of paint. It's very messy. It's getting all over my fingers. And man, it's really trying to stick on her face quite a bit. But that's all right, because like I said, we're going to go back through. We're going to paint, basically just repaint everything we've already painted while keeping the detail textures. So yeah, her face is dark now. Don't worry, we're going to fix it. I'll be right back once I'm done doing this, now that the cat has stopped making a cameo. So I did go back and look at the previous video clips, and it's blurry. Why? Maybe I'm holding it too close to the webcam. Maybe that looks better. Anyways, so she is ready for the next step, which is to bring back all those beautiful colors we had before. So we're going to start with the white and the cream, just like we did at the very beginning. Let me just put some of this down here. Sorry about any noise. My microphone is right next to the paint, so, you know, I'm sure that's fun. Oop, this, I'm going to have to get more white soon. It seems like I'm getting low. Show you how we're going to repair the damage we did by antiquing while keeping the progress we made by antiquing. So I'm going to start with white, and we're going to just start bringing the colors back. I'm going to show you a technique called dry brushing. So now that this is all completely dry, we're going to take a brush and go against the grain, okay? We're not going to go with the grain, we're going to go against the grain. What this does is it lets the paint hit those ridges of the texture, but not go into the crevices. So you're basically just very, very lightly brushing the paint across the upraised textures and ridges, but leaving the crevices and the shadows alone. So you don't want to like have too much paint on your brush, because then it's going to glop over into the cracks, and you're not going to want that. So hopefully this comes across on video, but you just lightly brush against the texture, not with it, against it. And it's just going to lightly add more white. Now this is a lengthy process. You have to go slow and easy and probably do multiple layers. There is a lot of going back and redoing what you already have done. We're actually going to add a little bit of that cream in here. You're just going to just very, very ever so lightly brush across the texture. And this is going to bring back all of that whiteness of the wings while preserving the texture you've brought out by the antiquing method. So there we go. And if you feel like you need to go a bit heavier in places because you want it to be whiter and there's too much antiquing, you can go with the grain just a little bit. But like, hopefully that shows what I mean. And we're going to do this for the entire thing. We're basically repainting everything we've already painted. Now you can skip the antiquing step and just say, okay, I'm done, I'm finished. But I like to go that little step further and do the antiquing, because it really makes like feathers, especially makes feathers pop something amazing. So we're just going to, like I said, just keep doing this to bring back all of the original color that we stained over by the antiquing method. Some areas where the texture is very shallow, it's not going to stick, and you'll just have to cover that area entirely. This is why I don't use this method on like the toys and stuff, is because they don't, their detail is too shallow. They don't have a deep enough crevice to do this method with. It's not gonna do it properly. But these statues have a deep enough texture that I can actually do this and have it look all right. So, but you don't want to go like, you want to preserve the shadows you put in. You don't want to like completely overdo it, otherwise you might as well not have antiqued in the first place. But yeah, so we're gonna, and like, it's the same thing for the horse body, okay? It's a little bit trickier because the texture is shallower on the horse body. But you, again, against the grain, and you just lightly start bringing that white back in. This is a bit easier on something that isn't white, I will admit it. And we're gonna lightly brush over the stripes too, but don't worry, we're gonna go back over the stripes with brown, and everything will be okay. Because basically, if it's a light surface, you need to antique it darker and then add more white. And if it's a dark surface, you're gonna do more dry brushing over it. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate and paint, and sometimes that doesn't work out very well. But you see what I mean there. You see how and you can add the cream because that's our white shadow color. You can add the cream in areas where you want it to be a little darker and not so white. And you can leave the antiquing heavier in places where you want more shadow. Like, I'm probably not going to do much to bring out the color down here because it's supposed to be in shadow. Same with the back side of the body. It's supposed to be in shadow. I'm not going to leave it like entirely like this, but I'm going to leave more of it on this side than I would on this side, if that makes sense. But yep, so just a lot of going back over what you've already done and doing it all over again. But it makes for a much nicer finished product. Hopefully this is coming across on the video. Like I said, I might have to invest in a better webcam if people like these videos enough for me to keep doing them, because I know this webcam is not the greatest, but it's... Oop, I went a little heavy there. But see, because I sealed the miniature, I can just wipe it right off. Because it's sealed, it has that protective layer. Everything we did before this antiquing step is preserved, and we can wipe it off much easier than we could have if we hadn't sealed it. That's part of what makes sealing it so handy, is you can just redo it and wipe it away. You got to be careful with the brown spots though, because I don't want to like cover them entirely. But this area has so little texture, it's easy to accidentally go too heavy because there's nothing to dry brush on top of, and especially in this area. So for that, we're mostly just bringing the color back in, and we're going to have to redo all the spots anyways. But you can see the difference it's making. So I'm going to work at this for a little while. I'll show you guys once I get on the brown. I'll show you the steps once I reach the brown, but I'll try and get all the white done for now. So we've made progress. I am going to redo all the spots, so don't worry that they're faded. I realized trying to go around the spots was making it look worse. So we're going to just put the spots back in afterwards. But let's see if hopefully that's in focus. You can see the difference. This is how it used to look, the wings. And you can see I've added in the cream and the white again, but I've also kept the fur texture, okay? So I'm making progress. We're going through it. Trying to get it to focus properly. It's so hard to tell. My little recording window is actually very small. So I want to show you guys on the darker areas how we do that. So we get a lighter color brown than the wings are, right? We mix it, and again, we're going to go against the grain on these feathers. This technique works best on feathers, less good on fur. I probably should have just done the wings, but oh well. Live and learn. I've never done a Pegasus before. So we're going to go against the grain. Okay, I needed more brown. We're going to go against the grain to pick out all of those delicious, I don't know why I said delicious, all of those little feather details, okay? I'm going to just try and do one side of the wings so that the other side is standing as a direct contrast so you can see the difference. And then you can add a little bit of that very same dark brown that the wings were originally and go over the light areas with that new dark brown, just because you don't want them to be too light. But what this does is this keeps that dark feather texture that you got from the antiquing with black, but it lets you also have the colors you want. Hopefully, I don't know if you can actually see the difference there. I don't think I can get a great angle for you to see the difference on that, but it's there, trust me. It's there. I know it's hard to see, but I promise it's there. We're going to do the same to the other side, against the grain. Yeah, a lot of when I paint these statues is just doing the same coating, doing the same thing over and over and over again until I get the look I want. So it's not exactly the most thrilling video content because I'm just repeating the same step several times, but I just thought this would be something fun and a bit different. And like I said, I really like my Red Dead Online horse, and I wanted to do this and paint this like her. I don't think that's coming across at all, but I wanted to share this step with you guys. And we are going to do the face as well, so you can see that in the legs and see that step. It's a little hard and tricky to paint this area because it's so cramped. Oh well. Alright, so for the face, again, it's fur, and apparently I've never really done fur before. I've only ever done feathers, because I've painted like griffins and stuff who had very feathery bodies. So with the face, again, we're going to try and go against the grain and bring back in those colors we had before. We're basically just redoing all the shading and texture we've done before. I need a little bit more brown, I think, in here. Trying to make sure I stay on camera better this time than the last video. But yeah, thank you for putting up with me for this more experimental kind of video. I know a lot of you like the art, and I'm trying to do interesting things with it and show you some techniques in case you want to learn yourself, but I know my poor quality webcam can affect that a little bit. But yeah, basically we're just redoing all the steps we've done before, bringing in the highlights, bringing in the shadows, bringing in the mid-color, and just trying to preserve that antique texture that we got out of it. So that's the process. It's time consuming, but I think the end result turns out really nice. I would paint these a lot more, but they're, like I said, kind of expensive and very they take up a lot of space, and they're also like heavy and fragile, so you have to make sure you put them somewhere safe where the cat's not going to knock them off. Maybe if I like painted them and then like sold what I painted, I would do these more often, but I never really got into the habit of selling stuff I painted. Maybe I should look into that, I don't know. I like to do art, but it just takes up space and just adds up because I never do anything with it once I do the art. I just kind of hoard it. But yeah, I do enjoy painting, especially if I'm painting something I'm passionate about. Like I'm painting this like my Red Dead horse, who I absolutely adore. I love my little horsey in the game. So it inspires me to do a better job on this than I would probably do if I was just painting some regular old horse. Now, we lost a lot of the antiquing in the face, but I learned when I was antiquing it, I realized there isn't a lot of texture on the face. And so it was very hard to, antique it because there wasn't any texture there. But I think it worked out okay enough. See, I wanted to cover the step on how to do the brown, and then I will put back in the spots and just keep making it look better. Basically redoing everything I've told you how to do in the last video and this video and show you the finished product. Hopefully it looks good. I haven't done this in years, so I'm probably making mistakes I wouldn't have made earlier in the time that I used to paint these all the time. I really want this face to look good, so I'm trying to be very careful with it and add in a lot of the colors that were there before. Like I said, I kind of feel like I shouldn't have antiqued the body, only the wings. But I didn't know, and I wasn't able to know until I did it because I've never painted one of these before, so. But a lot of it is dry brushing and just layers, 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 layers. It's all about the layers. Gotta get some of this golden brown color in here. Do it on the edge of the ears a little bit to highlight those a little bit more. But yeah, I don't really know how well this is coming across in video, but hopefully you guys are still enjoying the process. So the face compared to how the face used to be, I don't know at all. I want to hold it close to the camera, but I don't feel like it's focusing if I do that. If I get it really close. Focus. Focus on the horse. And then it's hard, okay? It's difficult. stupid camera. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying. All right, anyways, I'm going to just finish polishing the rest of this, add the spots back in, doing the same stuff I've already done over and over again for you guys, and then you can hopefully enjoy the finished product, all right? I hope you will, at least. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final part of this video. I am hand manipulating the webcams with my Pegasus in a lovely little light box here, which, as it suggests, is a box that creates lights up above. There's a little light bar here, and it just lets me get better pictures of it. So hopefully this is a better way to get nice, detailed, clear, in focus pictures of the Pegasus I finished. Overall, this took me about 3 days, working about 5 hours total. You guys, of course, will only see a bit of that because 5 hours is a really long time to be recording and talking, and making video that long is ridiculous. So I'm probably going to split it into sections, which by the time you watch this, you'll know because you'll have seen the previous ones. I'm thinking 3 based on the length of the videos I've taken. The final steps were exactly the same steps you've already seen, which was shadows, highlights, shadows, highlights, shadows, highlights, shadows, highlights, over and over and over until I got the look I wanted. So, her eyes have been glued in now. If I can come on, focus on her. There we go. Yeah, her eyes have been glued in. I chose a nice brown color to match my in-game horse. The wings look a lot better. Sorry, she's a little too big for like ideal for the black background, but her wings I think look pretty good. I'm actually very proud of her feet and hooves. I think I did a good job on that. So she doesn't quite fit. I'm sorry. There's a lot of white space on either side. This is for small miniatures. Like, hold on. Sorry for any clinking and clanking. Let's use this guy again. So, like, this little dragon here, like, he fits for, like, photos. There wouldn't be much empty space. Or, like, even smaller miniatures, like this tiny little thing. It's made for this size miniatures, but I use it for pretty much everything. So I'm just going to show you multiple angles of her for the since, you know, she's done. From the front. And the darker shadowed side, I left a lot darker. You can see there's still a lot of that antiquing fur texture in there. But yeah, so that's her other side. And the back, she actually came with a little tail band and a gem, a little tiny gem. So, and then we'll tilt her a bit so you can admire my wing details. Focus. Focus. I did stripes and stuff on the wings. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this very lengthy, time-consuming journey. I'm very happy with how she came out, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video showing how to paint something like this. It is a lot more complicated to paint one of these than it is to paint a plastic dinosaur toy. This is a lot more involved, requires a lot more work, but it's still a really nice figure to have. She came with a felt pad on the bottom that I put on afterwards so she doesn't like slide or scrape. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching me paint this, and, you know, let me know if you did and if you want to see more painting videos. And I'll see you all in the next video I do, which should probably be more Red Dead, knowing me.